10 o'clock news starts right now.
A young upstate father shot dead in Greenwood. Tonight, we're talking to his mom and his sister, still coming to terms with his death as police try to track down who killed him and shot a second man, too.
And only on Fox, an upstate man's story of survival and heroism. Jonathan White witnessed the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history. Tonight, he describes the images, the sounds, and the 10 minutes of hell White says has forever changed his life.
Yeah, it's more the screams and stuff when you try to go to sleep.
This really is an interview you do not want to miss. A veteran from right here in Greenville who found himself under attack on his own soil. A survivor and a hero. Jonathan White's story is coming up in minutes. Good evening, I'm Cody Alcorn.
And I'm Diana Watson. We'll have much more on those top stories coming up in a moment. But first, we do want to take you to some breaking news out of Greenville County, where multiple fire departments have been battling a large storage fire off of Pelham Road. This is a live look at the scene as crews are securing the area. They're still checking for hot spots, but at this point, starting to wrap things up a bit. But it's a much different scenario now than it was a couple of hours ago. That fire started at a business called Lang Ligon Corporation, which shares a building with Wright Metal Products. They partner with multiple companies, including Michelin and BMW.
The call came out just after 7:20 tonight, and crews were on scene within 4 minutes. Of course, Boiling Springs Fire Department just across the street. We could actually see the flames from our tower cam here along Pelham and 85. The fire department actually had to cut a chain link fence to get into this area because the warehouse was closed. But they were able to get the majority of the fire knocked down within 20 minutes. So a great job by those firefighters. The Boiling Springs Fire Chief tells us they're now just working to help the business as much as they can.
Well, that's part of our job as well, is to help our business owners get back in service. So we're conducting salvage operations, making sure their records are secure and removing the smoke from the building so they can at least get partially in operation.
And as we mentioned, you could see the fire from our tower cam. This is just after those flames were knocked down. So this is 85 at Pelham looking over at that warehouse. But again, right now, thankfully, all of the employees are okay. No firefighters were hurt, and the fire is out. Now it's just a cleanup operation. And of course, as we get new developments on how this fire might have started, we'll have updates on air starting on the morning news at 4:30 and of course online at foxcarolina.com.
Now to an interview you'll see only on Fox. An upstate woman holds her own brother in her arms just seconds after he was shot. We spoke to 23-year-old Emil McDuffie's family just hours after an apartment shooting that left their loved one dead and another man hurt. Greenwood police were called to the Phoenix Place apartments earlier today, and they're continuing to investigate the shooting tonight.
Only on Fox here at 10, Shel Ramin talked with that man's family. And Shel, this happened just hours ago, and I can only imagine the grief this mother is going through after losing her son.
Yeah, they're having a very hard time, Cody, as you can imagine, but they still took the time to tell me who Emil McDuffie, or Gump as they like to call him, really was. They say he was an amazing person, an even better father, and everyone we spoke to at that apartment complex said one thing about him: he always had a smile on his face.
Just 23 years old, and his family says he was unlike anyone else.
He gonna always have a smile on his face, you know? No matter what you say to him or what you do to him, he always have a smile, you know? He's a good guy. He was just in a bad situation.
We spoke to 23-year-old Emil McDuffie's sister and mother just hours after he passed away from a shooting.
He took his last couple blows in my arms. I just wish he would have gotten in the car and we would have just left, you know. He didn't get to say his last word.
Just houses down from where we spoke, this sister remembers the place she would see her brother for the last time. Greenwood police say her brother Gump, as they like to call him, was one of the two people shot at Phoenix Place Apartments on Tuesday.
I said, come forward. It'll take a lot of stress off my mama and the whole family. Like, it'll help us out a whole lot, and I just want to know why.
His family says he had a love for college sports, a way with words as a rapper, but his most genuine gift was being a father to his 2-year-old little girl.
He just loved his baby girl. Like, he loved to be around. That's all he talk about. We're going to go to the playground. He just loved his baby. Like, he loved her like no, he was a great father.
Now police and this family need help. They need to know who killed the man they knew as Gump and why they did it.
Why they had to kill him at 23, you know? I'm nothing but 19. It took my brother away from me. I never see my brother again.
Now the family tells me that second victim, who was shot and injured, remains in the hospital but is expected to be okay. Now that information has not been confirmed yet by law enforcement, and McDuffie will undergo an autopsy sometime tomorrow. If you have any information regarding this shooting, you're asked to call the Greenwood Police Department. We're live in Greenwood. Shale Remain, Fox Carolina, the 10 o'clock news.
Shale, thanks so much. And new tonight in other news, we're taking a closer look at an officer-involved shooting that happened in Greenville County. Bystander John Riddle recorded this cell phone video as the situation was coming to an end. Greenville County deputies fired shots at a suspect who was killed. And tonight, we'll show you what happened in the moments leading up to that shooting.
Now, this all unfolded Sunday night and ended with the death of 27-year-old Jacob Paul McCarty of Landrum. His family shared this picture with us. The coroner says McCarty died of multiple gunshot wounds to the torso. Now, before we show you this video of those moments before the shooting, we do want to go through the details of how the night unfolded.
Right, and Sheriff Will Lewis says the situation started around 7 o'clock Sunday night when Travelers Rest police notified the Greenville County Sheriff's Office that they were chasing a DUI suspect. TR police chased the suspect into the county, where the sheriff says Travelers Rest PD lost the driver somewhere around Highway 414 and Bates Road. At that point, he says his deputies with the sheriff's office came into the area for backup, and his deputies found the driver. Sheriff Lewis says his deputies then got behind that driver, and he says initially speeds were around 35 to 40 miles per hour, and traffic was light. So they chased him.
Now, he says the chase went on for a while longer. The sheriff says when they got to the area around Fars Bridge Road and Ridge Road, the driver intentionally hit one deputy's car, causing that deputy's car to be disabled. The sheriff says other deputies continued the chase until it ended just past the intersection of Blue Ridge Drive and Cedar Lane Road. This is how the sheriff described the ending of the chase.
As we were heading into downtown, knowing that there was going to be a pretty good bit of traffic, we felt it was probably in our best interest to go ahead and eliminate that threat. So we did what we call a pit maneuver, or a maneuver to disable his vehicle and stop him from running. As we did, he spun out, and the back of his vehicle ended up in the hometown food store, or in the hometown store right over here. It's 408 Cedar Lane Road. He went into the side of the building backwards, and as he goes into the side of the building backwards, there was already information relayed to us that he may possibly be armed, but we did not know at the time. As he stops, he is armed. He presents a firearm. There was negotiations, conversations took place, where we tried to convince the gentleman to put his pistol down. At this point, somewhere during the course of all this, less than lethal munitions were used, and eventually the suspect threatened the deputies in such a way where they felt that their lives were threatened and they had to fire upon the suspect.
Now, the sheriff says the negotiation team did everything they could to come to a peaceful resolution. A man who says he witnessed this chase as well as the shooting recorded video on his cell phone as the situation ended and deputies fired those shots. And he shared that video with us.
And we're going to let you watch about a minute of the video leading up to the shooting. You'll hear the non-lethal shots being fired. But we've stopped the video in the second before the fatal shots are fired.
You got no sense. Oh, oh. dogs on him.
So right after where we froze that video and you saw that moment there, multiple shots are fired and McCarty falls to the ground. The witness who recorded the video told us what he says he saw.
The dog started attacking the entire time. He had the pistol to his neck, and he was fighting the dog off with his left hand, and he lost his balance. And when he stood back up, the dog come the other direction from him. He lost his balance and fell kind of back the other way, away from officers. And as he was falling away from the officers is when the actual gunfire came out.
The Greenville County Sheriff's Office says 4 deputies were involved in this incident, but we don't know exactly how many fired their weapons. We'll learn more about that when SLED finishes their investigation. SLED says the deputies' dash cam and body camera videos are also being reviewed as part of this investigation. The 4 deputies involved are on paid administrative leave. None of the deputies were hurt. The sheriff says a chaplain and peer team is working with the deputies to make sure they are psychologically okay as well. Well, now to a developing story tonight. The votes are in for multiple runoff races in the upstate. It was election day for some folks today. In Spartanburg, the unofficial results show Mayor Junie White has won another term as mayor of Spartanburg, beating out businessman Todd Horn. In Malden, Terry Merritt is ahead in seat 3 for city council. He has 650 votes, while James Kennedy has 548. 2 precincts are still out. And in Simpsonville, Stephanie Kelly is just barely ahead in the race for the city council Ward 2 seat. She has 528 votes. Aaron Roop has 519. And again, two precincts there remain out. And of course, we'll keep you updated as those results come in. Well, still to come, an upstate firefighter left very badly hurt in a crash.
First thing he done, the way I understand it, was held up 4. That's for state and 4. So that shows where his heart is.
Tonight, the mother of the 19-year-old describes her hero son dedicated to serving the community, as his fire chief describes a fighter battling against a spinal cord injury.
And an interview that Cody did that left him speechless.
Yeah, it's a survivor of the Las Vegas shooting from right here in Greenville. For the first time since the massacre, Jonathan White is speaking out publicly. His story of survival and heroism in minutes.
And a few of us did see some light rain, but that's pushing out. I'll show you what your biggest travel of the day of the year is holding.
We're following some breaking news tonight out of Hollywood. Former Teen Idol and Partridge Family star David Cassidy has died tonight at the age of 67. He was admitted to a Fort Lauderdale, Florida hospital for multiple organ failure. Best known for his role as Keith Partridge in the 1970s series The Partridge Family with real stepmom Shirley Jones. Cassidy sang all of his songs in the show, recording 5 solo albums and 10 records with the Partridge Family. David became a superstar, selling out arenas around the world, and he was still performing earlier this year and recently had a show in Las Vegas. David Cassidy, again, was 67 years old.
A developing story here at 10, an upstate firefighter in the hospital after a crash along Highway 29 in Anderson County. It happened Monday morning. He's got a lot of injuries, broken ribs, spinal damage as well, and it could be permanent. Joseph Blanton's mom says, though, she and her son are thankful for all of the prayers, the upstate coming together along with fellow firefighters as they all are praying for Joseph Blanton's recovery. Now, she told us, quote, from the day he was old enough to start fire training, he has signed up for any and all classes available. He then followed his desire to chase his servant's heart to the EMS side of public service. Whether wearing a Sparky the dog costume in the 4th of July heat or extricating and providing patient care to a high school friend on a wreck scene, he's always up for the job. I've never seen him back down from anything, and I feel for certain he won't back down from this recovery journey. And that's how she ended the quote. She messaged me overnight. She said he's a fighter, and they're hoping that the prayers from this community are going to really lift him up here. And he knows everybody's listening and knows they're praying. And Joseph Blanton, only 19 years old, a firefighter at the Star Fire Department. Number 4, as you heard the chief a while ago say, was immediately transported to ICU at Greenville Health System, where he remains tonight.
And Fox Carolina's Madison Stiles has more on that story.
Right now, we do know that Joseph is alert and he's resting. So far, they have been able to see a little bit of progress with his condition. But again, they're not going to be able to see the full effect until the swelling goes down. But they do already know that he will have to have additional testing.
If anybody has the willpower to beat this thing, he does.
Troopers say that on Monday morning, Joseph Blanton was on his way to his EMT course in Greenville when he ran off the road, crashing into the woods, leaving him pinned inside of his vehicle.
They extricated him, got him in the ambulance, got him to the hospital. At the time, didn't think, life-threatening injuries or anything.
The chief says x-rays came back showing damage along Joseph's spinal cord. Doctors performed surgery to reconstruct his spine, and so far reports have come back better than doctors expected.
They've seen some promising signs during the night. Arm movement, yesterday he couldn't feel his stomach or anything. He can feel that now.
Blanton's mother says doctors originally thought he would be paralyzed, but every time the doctors came in, he made sure they knew that wasn't going to stop him.
First thing he done, the way I understand it, was held up 4. That's for station 4. So that shows where his heart is.
Joseph has been serving at Star Fire Department since he was 16.
He took the initiative to go ahead and get all his training when he turned 16. And it's funny to say, but I believe the boys took about every course that South Carolina Fire Academy offers because he wanted to be the best at what he done.
Chief Campbell says he looks forward to the day Joseph steps back on a truck doing what he loves.
I think what he hopes on is this fire truck right here. He wants to be able to climb back in it and fight fire. That's what's keeping him going.
Joseph and his family and everybody here at the fire station is asking you to keep Joseph in your thoughts and prayers during this time, and hopefully he'll be back on the truck soon. In Anderson County, Madison Stiles, Fox Carolina News.
We do want to take a look at your forecast. It's a very busy week. A lot of people heading out tomorrow. You might have family coming in. Want to show them around our awesome area. So we hope the weather will cooperate.
Yeah. So Kendra, how are things looking for us as we head closer to Thanksgiving?
Well, much better than it was earlier this evening. We had those scattered showers, mainly south of I-85, but those are starting to push off, and we're going to notice a clearing trend into late tonight and our Wednesday. So take a look as we get our day started. Temps will be in the 40s. Might have a little patchy fog early, but notice that sun comes out pretty quickly. 9 a.m. looking at 45 degrees in the mountains, right around 50 in the upstate. Here's how our day is going to shape up. Generally 60s, some 50s in western North Carolina, but it's going to be a nice mild Wednesday, lots of sunshine. So really the only thing you'll need to remember is bring the sunglasses if you're doing a lot of car travel tomorrow. Heading into Wednesday night, maybe your family's getting in then. Temperatures will be dropping into the 40s, so it'll be a chilly night for sure. And then heading into Thanksgiving, highs will get into the 50s, so not quite as mild as the biggest travel day of the year, but a nice one to maybe heat up the kitchen with some of that cooking. And it looks like we'll get a good bit of sunshine. You can always head to foxcarolina.com for the latest interactive radar as well as holiday forecast and our weather blog. Actually, meteorologist Isaac Williams posted a really cool blog on the national forecast in case you're doing some extended travel. Coming up in just a few minutes, we'll talk much more about the rest of the week, guys.
Kendra, thanks so much. Still to come, a triple homicide that shook an upstate community more than 14 years ago.
Now a former police chief speaking out about what it was like to be a part of that investigation while reflecting on his decades-long law enforcement career.
And you'll want to think twice of who you meet up with from Craigslist, Facebook, or the Let Go app. 2 Greenville robberies that left the victims with guns pointed right at them.
Plus, we continue to monitor the situation down from our station here on Pelham Road. A warehouse fire there. You can see flames and smoke for miles away. But the good news is no one hurt inside. No one was there. No firefighters are injured, and the fire is out. It's just cleanup operation now. We'll have more on this fire coming up at the top of the hour.
Hi there, I'm Lauren Elise.
And I'm Nicole Pape. For the busiest travel day of the year, it actually looks pretty good, not just locally, but across the nation. So both myself and Chris will have everything you need to know with weather and traffic every 10 minutes.
And it's almost that time where we kind of fully transition to Christmas. So Joe is talking about Roper Mountain holiday lights. They are back this year and beautiful. We'll have all that plus more, especially going to watch that traffic for you. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow on the Morning News.
In tonight's Most Wanted, investigators with the Greenville County Sheriff's Office are asking for information about 2 recent robberies they say were a setup using the popular app Let Go. In both cases, investigators say the victim agreed to meet the suspect to buy a cell phone. The incidents were reported just 2 days apart. One was at the Walmart on Woodruff Road on Sunday, the other at the Burger King on Pelham Road on the Friday before that. Deputies say when the victim pulled out money to exchange for the phone, the suspects pulled a gun and demanded the cash before taking it and driving off in a dark blue car. The suspects are 2 men. The victim told deputies a woman and 2 toddler-aged children were also in the car. Now, in the more recent robbery, deputies say the victim and suspects began their exchange when the men punched the victim before pulling out a gun and grabbing the cash from the victim's hand. The men in the case were also described as being there but driving a red Kia Sportage. Now, investigators are asking anyone with information on either of these cases to call Crime Stoppers at 23 Crime. And as always, the Sheriff's Office recommends that people meet at the Greenville County Law Enforcement Center for any transactions arranged through websites, social media, or phone apps. Something to think about for sure.
Definitely.
Well, still to come, one upstate county has a new way to keep drunk drivers off the streets.
It's so senseless. I mean, it's 100% preventable.
How this new tool, you see it there on the left, will help this holiday season and all year long.
Plus, getting ready for Saturday's big rivalry game. We have the very latest from Clemson and Columbia on the Tigers and Gamecocks prep for the Palmetto Bowl.
Welcome back. A developing story here at 10. A University of South Carolina student facing a felony charge in connection to a DUI crash that killed a fellow USC student.
This was the scene on November 15th in Columbia when a 24-year-old was driving double the speed limit and hit a 22-year-old on a moped. The victim died from injuries the next day. The solicitor says the suspect was, quote, grossly intoxicated. Charles Davenport was released on a $75,000 bond and has been ordered to undergo monthly drug and alcohol testing. Davenport is charged with felony DUI.
It's a slogan called Choose Your Ride. It's the message the Cherokee County Sheriff has this holiday season. They are using a unique way to get their message across to drivers. Now, Fox Carolina's Brandon Lavornia is live. He's been in Cherokee County today with more on this initiative.
So, Brandon, what's this new tool that law enforcement say will make an impact in Cherokee County?
Well, you can kind of see it over my shoulder right now. It was a new patrol car purchased with some grant money from the Cherokee County Commission on Alcohol and Drug Abuse. Now, it's a reminder to drivers this holiday season that you have a choice. You can either go home safely with a sober ride, or you can go home in a patrol car, go to jail in a patrol car if you choose to drink and drive. Susie Thomas and her son Gregory would walk a few miles every afternoon. But nearly 16 years ago, that everyday walk turned into a life-changing tragedy for the Thomas family.
Gone about a mile, and the car came down at a high rate of speed, and he hit Gregory and killed him instantly.
Gregory Thomas was just 14 when he was killed by a drunk driver. Since then, Susie Thomas has shared her story to deter drivers from getting behind the wheel under the influence. When she heard about the new car in Cherokee County with the same message, she supported it immediately.
It's so senseless. I mean, it's 100% preventable.
The half-taxi, half-patrol car will be placed all around Cherokee County to remind drivers they have a choice to take a sober ride home or one in the back of a patrol car.
It's real simple. Take a taxi, take Uber, call a record service, use a designated driver. Today, there's really no excuse for somebody to get out here and drink and drive with all the available options.
According to the South Carolina Highway Patrol, there have been more than 850 fatalities on roads so far this year. In Cherokee County alone, there have been 17, more than double from last year.
If you look at the carnage, I mean, literally we celebrate in South Carolina when we have under 1,000 fatalities. That's nothing to celebrate. Those are families' lives that are destroyed and disrupted forever.
Families like the Thomases have this message for drivers this holiday season.
Stop and think about it before you do it. It's your life, or it's an innocent person's life.
Now, the law enforcement agencies here in Cherokee County will also be cracking down on people not wearing their seatbelts, speeders, and, of course, that haunting distracted driving. In Cherokee County, Brandon Livornia, Fox Carolina, the 10 o'clock news.
Brendan, thanks. As we continue to cover our counties, we have a Fox Carolina follow-up. The Anderson County Sheriff's Office says that a man who was found at a fast food restaurant Monday afternoon was actually stabbed numerous times by his wife. Investigators responded to the Burger King on 28 Bypass around 5 o'clock yesterday. We heard from a lot of you about this scene. When the Sheriff's Office got there, they say they found that man with numerous stab wounds. He was rushed to the hospital, and he is expected to be okay. Now, that's when the deputies there learned that the stabbing actually happened here, just a short distance away at Tabitha Court. That was the second crime scene we were on last night on the 10 o'clock news. Today, the Sheriff's Office came out and announced the arrest of the victim's own wife, Tamara Williams. She has been charged. Officials say she repeatedly stabbed her husband with a knife following an argument.
A local activist group is on the search to generate new leads in an unsolved murder that happened last month in Spartanburg. Police say Gregory Drummond was found lying in the road with several gunshot wounds. All of this happened in October. And this evening, the organization Put Down the Guns Now Young People passed out flyers. You see them going door to door, asking the community for help and any tips they might have in solving this case.
And we've got to get people who see something to say something. And in walking down this street on Nevada, where Gregory had a lot of family and friends, the people want closure for this case. And we're going to seek and try hard to help the police find the person or the persons who are responsible for taking Gregory's life.
So if you have any information, you are urged to call the Spartanburg Police Department or Crime Stoppers at 1-888 Crime SC.
Well, only on Fox. Usually you hear him in Our Most Wanted talking about knuckleheads who are wanted out of Spartanburg County. But nope, Sheriff Wright is now giving back to those in need this holiday season. Nearly 2 years ago, the sheriff, along with a few other families, founded the Rejoice Lutheran Church. Well, today members spent most of their evening preparing that, turkey dinners. Members handed out around 40 dinners at the Stillwell Manor Nursing Home. The donations didn't stop there, though. Members were also busy at the church preparing for more dinner giveaways. We caught up with some of those grateful recipients tonight.
My family, we usually do Thanksgiving, but this Thanksgiving we didn't have the money to have Thanksgiving, so it was very honored to have them serve us Thanksgiving dinner.
The Thanksgiving meal was amazing, and I just loved all the people here, and I had really fun.
The sheriff tells us Rejoice Lutheran Church also prepares breakfast every Sunday morning for anyone who is hungry.
All right, new tonight, a little bit of a shakeup in the college football playoff rankings. The Tigers may have crushed the Citadel by 58 points, but they dropped behind Miami in the latest rankings. The two schools flip-flop, so Clemson's now third. The Hurricanes are now second.
Aaron joining us here at the desk. And you always hear Dabble talk about this. He's like, it doesn't matter. You know, they're just some numbers, but they still have to go out and play and win.
Well, a lot of coaches have that kind of coach speak, right? But when it comes to Clemson and Miami, it really doesn't matter. Yeah. As long as both come out of this final week of the regular season with W's, the ACC championship already set between the two teams. That'll likely set up as a winner-take-all for a spot in the college football playoff. And nothing, on the other hand, would make Gamecock fans happier than to knock the Tigers out of playoff contention and snap their 3-year losing skid in the rivalry series. Could very well cost Clemson their third straight trip to the national semifinals if South Carolina can pull the upset. Now, both Dabo Swinney and Will Muschamp talking to the media earlier. The stakes high for both teams, neither taking their rival lightly.
I mean, it's a rivalry game for a reason. You know, there's a lot of emotion that's tied to the game, but at the end of the day, emotion ain't gonna win. That don't win the game. I mean, you can get all fired up, and it don't win. It's players making plays, it's execution, it's blocking, it's tackling. Same thing that wins every other game wins this game.
Looking forward to one of the great rivalries in all of college football, and certainly playing much better and coaching much better than we did a year ago. So Clemson's got a really good football team. Ought to be a great environment here at Williams-Brice, and we're looking forward to getting it home and playing these guys.
The rivalry game kicks off at 7:30 on Saturday night. Clemson about a 2-touchdown favorite at last check. We'll, of course, have much more on the rivalry game coming up in sports at 11. We'll hit the hardwood as well, where Zion Williamson shining once again in his home debut. Check this out. Windmill dunks It's coming at you in sports at 11.
Wow, always love watching those dunks that he does, for sure. Well, we have much more ahead. He not only survived the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history, but he ran towards the gunfire to help save those who were shot.
Jonathan White is from Greenville and found himself in the middle of an ambush while at a country music festival in Las Vegas.
At this point in time, I didn't know if there was actually a shooter on the ground or exactly what was going on. I just knew somebody was shooting.
In 5 minutes, an interview you'll see only on Fox that will leave some of you questioning as you fall asleep tonight. What would I have done on October 1st during that shooting? And for many of us, it would not be what this hero did. Stick around. The interview is next.
And we'll talk travel forecast. If you look locally, we're going to stay fairly even keel, but a few ups and downs to talk about. I'll show you those cooler days ahead coming up in just a couple minutes.
You're watching the 10 o'clock news with Diana Watson, Cody Alcorn, Chief Meteorologist Kendra Kent, and Sports Director Aaron Cheslock.
Just over a month ago, the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history happened in Las Vegas. A lone gunman went on a 10-minute rampage, shooting hundreds, killing 58 concert goers.
Police say the gunman was 32 floors up inside his Mandalay Bay suite when he broke the windows and opened fire inside his room. Police found 23 guns, 12 of them equipped with a bump stock, turning his rifles into automatic weapons. Only on Fox tonight, an upstate man who was there with his family and ran towards the gunfire is speaking out publicly for the first time.
Jonathan White's wife had been there the last 3 years. This year, he decided he was going to the Route 91 Music Festival. However, he had no idea what would unfold on the last night during the last set of Jason Aldean. October 1st, Las Vegas, Nevada. $25,000 country music fans enjoying the last night of the annual Route 91 Harvest Festival. Among the thousands of fans, Jonathan White and his family, who live in Greenville.
And then they started going hotel to hotel.
Like everyone else, the Whites had their cell phones out, recording the final set of country music star Jason Aldean. This video was shot around 9:45 Sunday night, and you can see on the White's cell phone the stage and Mandalay Bay in the background. 15 minutes later, a night of fun turned into a national tragedy.
And I started looking around. And I said, I thought it was like pyrotechnics. When he unloaded the second clip, that's when I knew something was going on. At this point in time, I didn't know if there was actually a shooter on the ground. I knew somebody was shooting.
No one had a clue there was a coward on the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Hotel, unleashing a wrath of hell.
The next thing you know, everybody's running for their life.
But not Jonathan White. Once he knew his family was safe, his fear turned towards his friend's daughter.
The initial run forward was because one of our friend's kids was in there, and I wouldn't want nobody leaving my daughter in there. So that was the initial, but then after that, it was just people need help.
Jonathan White ran towards the stage, and what he saw, as you're about to hear, has forever changed his life.
Yeah, it's just more the screams and stuff when you try to go to sleep.
Why is there blood?
But as I was going up to the stage, there was a girl who was shot. She was on the ground. I ended up picking her up and running her out of there. There was a tent set up on the backside. I stuck her in there. And as I'm going back out, there was a lady who was dead laying on the ground, and I'm not sure if it was her boyfriend or her husband or what, but he didn't want to leave, and I was trying to get people out of there at that point in time. So I grabbed her with him, and then we drug her out of there.
White says he just kept yelling at people who were in shock, huddled in groups.
Like I said, I didn't know exactly where it was coming from, but the last thing you want to do is be sitting in a big group if somebody's walking around shooting. So I started getting them to run and to get out of there.
While saving as many people as he could,
I went around, there was a girl who was shot in the throat.
White soon realized it was too late for many.
After that, I made my way around to the other side of the stage, and that was pretty bad over there.
Is that when you realized something?
Yeah, I mean, I already knew, but that was definitely let you know how bad it was once you got over there. From that point, it was just kind of going around and checking pulses. If somebody was dead, if there was a hat or something, we'd put it over their face, and then kind of move on to the next person.
White says he and others used barricades they had torn down as makeshift stretchers, carrying those who were shot out the back of the venue, lining them along a sidewalk.
We started sitting people down on there and then stopping cars and put people in the cars from that point. Trucks, cars, whatever you could find.
Eventually, law enforcement roped off the venue. White walked miles to reunite with his family, and for hours, as you can see in these pictures, White stood with the blood of complete strangers on him.
From that time till 6:30 in the morning, I couldn't take a shower to get all the blood off of me.
A veteran himself who never had to go to war found himself in the middle of an ambush on his own soil.
Everybody wants to understand. I mean, they feel sorry for you. They want to talk to you about it. You don't have to, things happen. Some things you can't ever understand and you don't want to. And that's kind of the way it goes, Because to understand it, you'd have to experience it. That ain't something you want to do, so.
Now, you heard Jonathan White say he initially ran towards the stage when the gunfire erupted. He knew his family was safe because his friends had just left town. And the last video he saw is their daughter was right there on that stage, right in front of it. Come to find out, she had left before the shooting even happened. So he ran up there to find her, but he said once he was up there, his instincts took in, and he knew he had to help those folks. And I asked him, do you plan on going back to the music festival? They've already announced they're not going to have it back there, but he said, yeah, he's going to be there, and his entire family is going back. He's like, he's not scared. He said it's kind of an anxiety. He says he doesn't go out in public much, but when he does, he said it's just anxiety about something's about to happen. Mm-hmm. And he says it's hard to deal with. He doesn't like the silence a lot because he can hear those things coming back, the screams and the images.
I can imagine. I mean, going through what he did and what he saw and, going in there and running right up to those people and telling that, it's just chilling to think about the thousands of people who went through being there in that moment.
And his wife was by herself at a hotel for close to an hour, and his daughter was by herself at the airport. So, I mean, it took them a good while, almost till midnight, to find each other, and then they had to go to the UNLV to get questioned by the police, and they got back to the hotel around 7 in the morning.
Really amazing to hear his perspective, and we thank him for what he did that night. All right, well, we want to shift gears right now because it is obviously Thanksgiving week. A lot of people are traveling, heading out on the road, maybe flying out or have family coming in, and everybody's hoping that the weather will cooperate this week.
Yes, and it really has for the most part. Tonight was a little frustrating because there was a little bit of rain out there, so if you had to hit the road, wasn't the best weather to do it. You can see a lot of rain up along the coast. That's not going to last forever. We're going to see that start to shift off to the north, and by the time we get into tomorrow, we're going to see clearing conditions for the coast as well as us. In fact, we're not seeing much rain at all left, just a few light showers there near the Charlotte area. As we take Futurecast into tomorrow morning, notice a lot of that heavy rain shifting away from the coast, so looking good. If you're heading down to Myrtle Beach or Charleston, maybe Savannah where you have some family, and then notice it just gets clearer throughout the day. Drier air will work in, and that's going to be the case into our Thanksgiving as well. So if you're just driving down the road to Atlanta tomorrow, expect temperatures in the mid-60s with mostly sunny skies. A little fog to start, so watch out for that on the road, but won't last very long. 50 is in the Knoxville area, 59 with mostly sunny skies, 63 for you in Charlotte, mostly sunny. A few clouds around Columbia, especially as those showers are moving off. And we will still have a chance for a little bit of rain around the Charleston area. Temperatures will be in the upper 60s, but I think that by the afternoon, a lot of the showers will be done with. Right now, locally, we're at 54 in Greenville, 50 in Spartanburg, 47 up in Asheville, and 50 over in Hartwell. So here's what's going to look like in Spartanburg tomorrow. Maybe you're staying local, but you got to get to the grocery store, got to start prepping for the big meal. 46 degrees to start the day. Look at that beautiful blue sky. We're going to keep that into Thanksgiving as well. 61 degrees right around 1 o'clock in the Spartanburg area and also much of the upstate. And then right around 55 degrees at 8 o'clock. So not too chilly as we head into the evening. So you might actually be able to spend a little bit of time outdoors with the family. On the Carolina Sky Meter, we're going all the way to a 9 for the day since we do have the fog in the morning. Couldn't give it a complete perfect 10, but it looks very nice by the time we get into the afternoon. Here's a look at national travel. If you're heading up toward the Dakotas, you might run into a few snow flurries, but nothing that should delay travel a whole lot. Pacific Northwest, though, dealing with some rain. And notice around Florida, we're going to see those showers develop. So there will be a chance of rain heading into Wednesday as well as our Thanksgiving. But around here at Thanksgiving, it's looking mostly sunny with temperatures in the 50s. And maybe you're heading down to Williams-Brice Stadium on Saturday. Of course, you know, a big game. You may have heard of it, the Palmetto Bowl. Clemson taking on South Carolina. It's going to be clear the whole time. 60s for tailgating, 50s as they get the game started. All right, so next 7 days, notice that for Turkey Day, it's going to be awfully cool with highs only in the 50s, but around that, fairly mild. In fact, for Black Friday, high of 62, 65 by Saturday, and then it gets a little cooler for the second half of the weekend. If you're doing any of the Black Friday shopping, keep in mind temps will be dropping into the mid-30s to low 40s area-wide Thursday night. So be sure to bring the, or wear layers if you're going to be standing in those lines for the big deals. Now, of course, you can wake up with the morning news for the latest tomorrow morning, guys.
Kendra, thanks so much. Still to come, it's been 14 years since 3 people were shot and killed in a Greer bank.
One of the things that, when you look back, that we hope that we were able to solve.
Tonight, new insight into the crime, and we're talking to the man who was police chief at the time and the lead investigator on the case to see if they're any closer to solving a triple homicide.
And one woman had every right to be a bridezilla. We're talking about her. Just wait until you hear what happened after her luggage with her dress and shoes were lost on her flight. Yeah, a lot much more coming up. Yeah, Thanksgiving, just 2 days away, and some people in Greenville got the chance to get their turkeys today.
96.3 The Block partnered with the Blood Connection to host their annual turkey giveaway. The Block's Steve Harvey Morning Show hosted the event today at the Phyllis Wheatley Center, and people there were able to pick up their turkey while also enjoying some live entertainment. Steve Harvey donated over 8,000 turkeys across the country, and 100 families here in Greenville were able to get theirs today. Well, trending tonight, one Texas bride was almost forced to wear leggings and boots on her wedding day.
It was enough to make any woman become a full-on bridezilla, but with the help of total strangers, luckily, that didn't happen. Kyle and Mary Kate Martin were heading to their destination wedding in Savannah when the airline lost Mary Kate's bag that had her wedding dress, her shoes, and even Kyle's wedding ring. The bride decided she would get married in the outfit she wore on the plane because she was that excited to marry her husband. That's when her hairstylist stepped in. She asked for help on Facebook, and in a matter of minutes, a Good Samaritan offered up her own wedding dress.
Showed up with not only the dress, her veil, 2 different pairs of shoes to try on, and her jewelry that she wore for her wedding day.
Yeah, Elena Vollen showed up ready to go with the dress, the veil, those 2 different kinds of shoes. The couple say this will be a memory that they will definitely live with forever and be excited about. And there she is in the donated wedding dress.
Pretty cool, I guess, at the end of the day.
Yes.
Could have been a lot worse.
It could have been.
Well, still to come, a sick, disturbing crime out of the Midlands.
Tonight, deputies are searching for a person who poisoned 2 dogs through a hot dog. The reward being offered in the search for the person accused of killing Darcy.
And the families of 3 people killed at a Greer bank have waited 14 years for answers. And tonight, we're talking to the city's former police chief and the current lead investigator to get some insight on the Blue Ridge Savings Bank murder.